Thanks for being on.
I am glad to be here with you. I'm glad anytime I get to sit down with you and have a chat.
Yeah, it's good. We've been working in the same office since 2020 now here at the Wolf Den, and we get a lot of work done and some conversation on the side, but never quite enough of the fun stuff.
Yeah,
You know?
it'd be nice if all we did was just hang out and gab,
Yeah,
with a drink in hand or a burrito or whatever.
we do that a lot too.
Yeah,
We do that a lot too, but not at length. So thanks for sitting down.
yeah, glad,
Um,
glad to.
are you working on your book right now?
I'm working on 4 books right now.
Four at the same time?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, go on.
Uh, so I'm pretty close to publishing on two. I've got an updated version of my book on the future of cars, and it's quite different, but it's pretty close to being ready. I've got another one on the future of AI, and they'll definitely be part of a common series. And there's a third one, another future book that's coming in that series, and it's going to be on work, how work is evolving and what to expect from it,
Hmm,
largely impacted by AI.
interesting. How are you juggling four books at the same time?
AI.
I see. I see.
Uh, I will say AI makes a big difference in writing. It helps you to speed up the research process. You can have it as
Mm,
a sounding board and ideation. You shouldn't have it do everything because it takes away the fun. You got to bring some direction to it, but it does allow you to make a lot more progress and stay consistent and organized. Like I've got a wandering mind. I'm kind of going off from one idea to the next idea. Even the way I format a page with AI, I can go back in the end and I can say, okay, format everything the same way and
yeah.
correctly. Be consistent. Find whether I'm staying true to the arc of the storyline. So it's like having a full time editor right there with me. But
Mm,
um, each of these, they've all got the word in minutes in the title on these three.
okay.
The future of AI in minutes, the future of cars in minutes, the future of
I
uh,
see.
work in minutes. And they're all built in very short chapters that anybody can pick up and read through in the short amount of, all the chapters are under 15-minute reads, even for a slow reader like me.
Oh,
And,
okay.
and everything's about, um, you know, kind of getting that level set look at this. There are a lot of books on AI and things like that from MIT professors. This is not that. This is for everybody. It's for uh, anybody that wants to just have some sense of what's going on. All those people that are panicking, at least they can have some point of view and maybe it'll bring a little calm to their lives.
Yeah. Yeah. Boy, we need that with the AI revolution. So, what's your process like when you're writing a book?
It usually involves coffee.
A lot
Uh,
of coffee.
yeah, yeah,
Same here.
coffee shops. Although, uh, I sit with a laptop or a phone on me all the time when I'm watching TV and
Mm,
we'll workshop things and go back and forth with things in the background. The first book I wrote on the future of cars, uh, I actually wrote almost the entire thing on airplanes. Uh,
wow.
I was working and living in Colorado Springs, but I had an office in Dallas, and then uh, I had a team there I was directing, and then clients in the DC area. And I was always flying back and forth, and I was trying to figure out what should I do that's better use of that time than just binging on videos.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got this time where I actually get to focus. I'm not getting bombarded by meeting requests and emails.
Yeah.
And and my main client that I was working with was Audi. So I was in discussions when I'd get to DC, when I get to Dallas, with people that were talking about the future of cars. We were launching Audi's first electric car. We were learning about subscription models instead of sales and leases. We were learning about the different platforms that they were talking about coming out with, like a pod that you could drop onto wheels or put helicopter blades on it or put it on a back of a train. So I was learning about all these things that I found fascinating, and I thought that'd be fascinating to other people. And now I'm working with tech companies like Qualcomm, who's doing a lot of self-driving car technology and AI PCs. I'm working with Google and Microsoft, who are both heavily into the AI game, doing advertising for them and helping to translate what their engineers have to say to other engineers or to other decision makers who are trying to decide what chips, what services, what AIs to invest in. So I've got a front row seat to some of the most interesting conversations going on, and so I'm translating them into uh, sort of a, a simple, every man's glimpse. It's the dummy's guide to the future. I'm the dummy, and that's how we get to the future.
Yeah, that's super interesting. So the Qualcomm chips, are those like the NVIDIA chips? Tell the uneducated person, which is me,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
where this
Qualcomm makes all different types of microchips. If you've got a Samsung phone or an old iPhone, you've got Qualcomm chips throughout. Uh, and I hooked up with them because they started making computer chips, so they started competing directly with Intel on the chips.
mm,
So it's the chips that run your PC, and they've kind of come up with a novel way to do it that's uh, very battery efficient, and that's what we're trying to get the word out about with commercials, with uh, web pages, with long form written pieces that would bore anybody else. But to an engineer, they're like, this is exactly what I need to know.
exactly, they want all that info.
So they're doing that. They're making some data center processors that are highly efficient, and they're competing directly with some of those NVIDIA GPU chips that are running the data centers uh, and
Mm,
making them trillions of dollars and a very wealthy company. NVIDIA is an interesting company. They've been making what's called a GPU for a long time, and the G stands for graphics. And so when that chip was invented years back, and you know, put them in everything, they were your graphics cards, so you could play video games or have cool images. And eventually, someone figured out that this graphics card, this graphics processor, was not really made just for graphics. It was a math processor, and it
mm,
could process the complex code that was going on in AI. So eventually, these guys that were, trying to make your video game look better happened to be making the thing that made AI run. It, they were smart. They learned how, they recognized it early and capitalized on it, but they almost kind of fell into it. I've heard them compared to being the company that makes the pickaxe when the gold rush started. They were just like, great, we found a new use case and we're going to lean into it. And so all of these companies are at a mad dash. No one knows quite who's going to win out. Uh, Google might just step on all of them. They've got the data centers. They made their own chip called a TPU, which is a tensor core processor. And everybody
mm.
knows what a tensor is, right?
Totally.
A
But in
tensor
case
is
anyone doesn't,
say
explain it.
a tensor is a number that's not zero, but is pretty close.
Not 0, but pretty close.
Yeah. So it's I guess the reason for its existence is a tensor is if you multiply zero by anything by zero, it's zero. But if
Yeah.
you multiply it by a tensor, it's not quite zero.
Not quite 0, almost 0, but not quite.
Yeah.
I
So
sometimes it pops into my head when I was taught in high school where you can cut a number in half infinitely and never get to 0,
yep.
ever.
Yep.
Kinda blows my mind
Okay.
still to this day.
You're learning good uh, Greek philosophy, probably straight out of Aristotle.
Yeah.
He would always cut things in half, and you'd never quite end up with zero.
Yeah, interesting. So what's it like doing advertising for companies at that scale? That seems interesting. I'm running a mid-sized business marketing agency. You've got experience in that world too, but that's different than working with people that are trying to compete with Intel and Nvidia and all that.
Well, I mean, the projects that you're working on are a certain level that's really interesting. Sometimes the budgets are big, But I'll tell you the day to day, you're working, just like you said, with people. Uh, I'm not working with Qualcomm every day. I'm working with Scott and Frank and Bree and Austin and a good team of people. I'm not working with Google. I'm working with Ben and Sherry and,
Mm,
at Microsoft, same thing, Val and others. Uh, it's really day by day. You do take it like that and you approach the challenges the same way that like you and I do when we're working with Amanda at Bristol,
mhm.
and you get the close relationship where you're looking out for each other and you're kind of coming up with ideas for each other. Some of them you're executing against their ideas. Other times you're coming up with ideas they never thought of because you've got a different perspective and a different angle. But day to day, the work and the projects, they feel personal and they're that same approach. Uh, and to me, I try hard to keep it that way. Uh,
Yeah.
you see, we have a good relationship when we're working with Bristol. We like what they do. We get their feedback. We go back and forth on ideas. We're crafting them together. I've seen in the ad world for years creatives who may have defaulted to thinking the client didn't know anything. And
Mm,
they might have come up with something better than the client, but the relationship eventually sours if you do that. Uh, you try to lean into the client's strengths. You try to root for their success, that individual success, knowing that ultimately that's going to be bring if I can help this person succeed at their part of their job, then Qualcomm is going to succeed, or HP, or whoever else. Uh, if you do keep it close like that, not only does it kind of build that relationship, but it feels familiar. It's that thing you know how to do. It's having an interesting conversation, coming up with ideas together, uh, sharing something. You get together every once in a while on a shoot, and when you're together in person, it just shows. I mean, everybody's hugging and they're excited to see each other
yeah,
because
that's
they
cool.
genuinely like partnering with each other.
That's cool. So it's not that different working for a huge company in terms of the kind of people that you're working with. They're still friendly. I think I people always have this idea of huge corporations like it's cutthroat and it's hard and they're real hard asses to work for. Standards are super high. And that probably is a lot true in a lot of ways.
We have seen that. I mean, some people do play it that way at those places. It's not how I approach it, and I don't know, maybe not approaching it like that has probably gotten me in trouble with some people I kinda haven't known. Uh, and we've seen the cutthroat nature of it, sometimes these big companies suddenly say, "Oh, we just lost $10 billion in a lawsuit. And so we're getting rid of all our ad agencies. We got 20 ad agencies. We're going to cut it down to one." We saw that happen a few years ago with HP. And even though we had a fantastic working relationship, you know, with, you know, Lance and Nikki and the individuals that we came to know and really appreciated and were on the same page with day by day, they were told by their CMO, this is the change we're making, adapt. And
And
and at the same time, we've seen those periods of big companies having layoffs. But it tends to be a large scale thing of what we see happen in smaller businesses as well. We see people coming and going from every
I was
different
gonna say,
client.
it's happened to me plenty of times.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes the place goes out of business. Sometimes the place has to adapt. Sometimes someone's not working out, uh, not doing their job the way the company would like, and we see people coming and going. So it's very much like that, just on a different scale. And you try to learn about things. And I'm I'm pretty nerdy. I like learning about all sorts of things, and so I'm in a place where that's useful and
You are good at that for sure.
connecting with people and telling their story in ways that aren't too complex. That's always a part of the job. Sometimes you do it in a way that's interesting or funny or emotional. I'd like that to be the ask all the time, but it's not always the need.
Yeah.
Uh, but it's fun to be in the midst of that.
Yeah. It sounds like good energy all the time, although tough, but still good energy with the people you're working around. Really creative, high standards for quality, which sounds really interesting to work in.
It is, and I get to work with really smart, interesting, fun, fascinating people.
Oh, yeah, the experience some of those people probably have.
I mean, you've gotten to work with a couple of the people I work with, like Charles, who does animations for us and
Yeah.
things like that. And you get around these amazingly talented people that come together. And as a director on the team, I get to have the task of helping them to find out what success looked like and how do we get there together. And that getting there together thing, it, there is pressure. Stakes are high, and people care about how things come across, and they have strong feelings about how they come across. So there is a lot of trying to get the people to work together, to
Mhm.
find common cause, to feel like they're rowing the boat in the same direction, and like rowing a boat with other people.
Yeah.
Sometimes the great creative people are not naturally and comfortable with. I was gonna say not naturally inclined, but I think it's more they're not naturally comfortable with necessarily, uh, being on a team. But
Mm.
when you can help them to feel comfortable with it, uh, amazing things happen. They see other people helping their idea instead of competing with their idea, and when that happens, it's really rewarding to see.
Yeah, that's good. Takes a certain amount of humbleness for a creative person to do that job well,
It
you know?
does. They gotta have that humility, they gotta have a leap of faith, a lot of trust. I guess the humbleness does depend on trust, that the other people with you are hearing you, and they value you, and uh, and what you're bringing, and they recognize it, and they're trying to take it, and instead of replace it, they're trying to plus it. They're trying to
Mm.
say, I can bring a little extra perspective. Does this help? A lot of it has to do with just how you talk to each other. And I'm sure that's something that's true not only of creative jobs, but of every type of job when you're trying to problem solve as a team, trying to get people to work together. Uh, we've seen the folks that work with you guys on lawn care, and I've talked to the people that run that company, and you can tell it matters a world to them about getting everybody on their crew to work together
Yeah.
and getting the
Yeah.
different people at different levels to help everybody work at their best, be at the right place, do the right things. Um,
Yep.
you can kind of tell when a company's run really well. I was like, I wish I could tell that at that Warren Buffett level where you can go to Coca-Cola or Geico or something like that and look at a spreadsheet and talk to a couple of C-suite people and say, "This is a company worth investing in. It's gonna make you billions of dollars." I can't tell at that level.
No.
I'm pretty good at things that aren't worth anything, uh, but, uh,
Right?
uh,
Right?
but that's I, uh, love people like Buffett that really recognize value on a grand scale and know what to do
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah, me and Aaron were actually just talking about Warren Buffett. Um, he apparently just moved a ton of assets to Japanese currency.
Mm,
He just made some really big shifts. I think it's been a couple years,
I know
but
that in the past month, he made some interesting moves to Google.
oh, really?
And
What
this is
was that?
probably someone will probably hear about this and make a fortune on it. I don't know what to do with it. Uh, I just assumed the stock price already went up because Buffett invested,
Yeah,
but he sees the value in it. And it was actually that tensor core processor I mentioned was part of it.
no kidding.
Uh, so right now with the AI systems, you have several big LLMs. You have uh, ChatGPT, which everybody knows. Some people know Claude from the company Anthropic. Uh, Grok, which is from Tesla, Elon Musk. That's his, and there are some others, and then Google Gemini is the other player at that scale. I guess Meta has Llama, which is a clever LLM. Llama, get it?
Oh,
But uh,
got it.
I know, good Mark Zuckerberg humor.
Oh
This
yeah,
is going to be great. But
llama.
um, but uh, so Google's got Gemini, and I actually got to work on the launch campaign of it back when they were calling it Duet, which is
Oh
Gemini
yeah.
in another language. But um, it was uh, what Buffett saw with Gemini is that it's got some important financial things going for it that some of these others don't. So, for instance, uh, ChatGPT, I believe it's largely run on data centers owned by Oracle or someone like that, or probably a series of different
Okay.
companies. So that's helping to make the head guy at Oracle, Larry Ellison, I think he's recently the richest guy in the world. Well,
No
all
kidding.
those
Really?
data centers
I didn't know that.
are one of the reasons there. I might have that wrong, but I think that's what I read. And and they're also making Jensen Huang, the leader of
Nvidia.
NVIDIA, one of the richest people in the world. By the way, his cousin Lisa Su is also one of the richest people in the world, probably because she runs AMD. Uh, that must be quite
Wow.
a Thanksgiving dinner to get around. Uh,
Man, it's like the Manning family.
yeah, I know. They're the mayonnaise
Love
of
to hang out at that Thanksgiving.
computer chips.
Yeah.
Uh, would I would hate to be the brother who's like a lawyer or something like that anybody else in the world would think is successful, and they just kind of like
Yeah.
roll their eyes at.
Oh, you're
Uh,
you're a brain surgeon? Big deal.
yeah, I know, just one brain at a time.
Golly, boring.
uh, but
Uh,
so oh, ChatGPT, OpenAI is making all these companies rich because their AI runs on their products. With Google, they own data centers. And they've invented this TPU, which is great for, AI is broken down into training and inference, and it's good for uh, one of those. I think it's the training. I might have that backward. Uh, Pretty sure I wrote it down right, but I can't remember it right. but um, and um, so they've got those elements, and Gemini is tied into their Google Workspace, so it can work along with your Google Docs, your uh, Google presentations, your Google Excel sheets,
yeah.
uh, Google Sheets. Excel is Microsoft. So they've got all those elements together. And that's unique. Even Microsoft, they've got amazing AI capabilities. They got quantum computing capabilities. Google has that too. But Microsoft's largely using ChatGPT. And so they don't own all the pieces. No one else owns all the pieces in the United States quite in the way that Google
Mm,
has all the pieces. And they're making them work together really well. Google updated their AI about 2 months ago, and it was just amazing. Not only for the LLM typical uh, ask questions, do queries, do searches, but their graphics tool, Nano Banana, really became, you know, top level at creating imagery, whether an illustration in a certain style or a photograph in a certain style, photographic style image.
yeah.
Uh, you can't really tell. It's not like a year and a half ago on Midjourney when it was amazing, but it was putting like seven fingers on people.
Yeah.
And it's, Nano Banana is largely getting it right. And then their VO3 offering, you can put in uh, a prompt. I told it the other day for a different project for a competitor, actually. Uh, uh, Make a video of Ada Lovelace speaking to an audience and welcoming them to a conference on AI. And Ada Lovelace, it knew who she was and put her in the right period outfit and gave her the right accent. Ada Lovelace is known as the first computer programmer. It was in the 1800s. She was the daughter of the poet Lord Byron. They kept her
Oh,
out of the poetry business because they thought there was too much debauchery in it. So she got into math and ended up kind of coming up with things. And it recognized, okay, it gave her this kind of almost steampunk background and a wood library, and dressed her in the Victorian style and gave her the accent and made her look like the uh, portraits there are of her. And that
interesting.
all came,
Huh.
it made all of that, and then read the script I gave it. It made this 8-second video, and it made it all and looked completely like someone shot a video of her, hundreds of years
Yeah,
back,
it is impressive.
uh, with modern technology. And that was all made in about 2 minutes, from when
Yeah,
I finished my prompt to when I hit that, and it made it. So that's within the Google infrastructure, and there are lots of other tools. So Buffett saw, if you bring all of that together in that way and have the financial security that you're not paying rent to Oracle for a bunch of data centers, or not as much, or you're not paying uh, NVIDIA for the use of all these processors, or at least not as much.
if you own it all,
If you
as
own
much
all the
as possible.
pieces, yeah, you're in a really strong position. And they've got, I mean, with the Alphabet Holding Company, so many other tools that are tied together. Uh, so, yeah, that's one of those kind of Warren Buffett. He saw the big picture, he made the investment, it made the stock price go up. Uh, Probably is still a good idea to invest in it, because Buffett
Long term,
doesn't
yeah.
necessarily, yeah, he's not the short term guy. He says this is a value. This company's doing things right and it's going to win out. I think that's an indication of his bet on a clear survivor of the AI bubble.
Ah, interesting. Interesting. And he just stepped down too.
Did he,
Yeah, Warren Buffett just stepped down as
Chairman?
he's still chairman. What did it say in that? I can't remember what it said in that article
So
exactly.
he's now
He's
only
still
working
chairman.
40 hours a week instead of 60.
Yeah, exactly.
And
What's the name of his there's a new president of the company that's been under him for a while.
yeah, I forgot his buddy Charlie. I forgot his last name, died,
Yeah,
and uh,
I can't
and
remember.
I don't know the name of the guy that stepped up, but it's not surprising that it's someone that's been at the company for a long time, because then again, that's exactly what he invests in. He
Yeah.
invests in companies that do things right, have long-term relationships, people prosper together, and uh, I think he gives such a good lesson in so many things. Look at
Yeah.
the world like that. Don't look at today's stock prices. You know, Someone's out there going to be bragging about, look at the stock market. I made that happen. Yeah, well, good companies working hard made it happen, and some exuberance.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but if you're if you're looking long term, and you're living a life that's, I mean, look at what he does. He takes his money, he's pledged to not just keep all that money. He's going to put it into things, and he's putting into finding what at least he considers worthy causes, working to eradicate the rest of polio, and
Yeah.
things like that, with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Mm.
Does he really still live in the same house and the same car
Yeah, I
that he
understand.
has forever?
He drives like I think he bought the car used. I think it was a Cadillac. That's his exuberance, his
Dude, you hear
exorbitance.
story you
Yeah.
hear that story a lot. I wonder,
Yeah, I have some cousins that
is it
live in
true?
Omaha, and they say it's true. Uh, and they said one of my cousins had a little uh, storefront for a frozen food business, and said that Warren Buffett had the the storefront next door to them, and that he used it for his poker nights with other famous people who jet into Omaha and play
Oh,
poker with
dude.
them. And
What kind of people were around that poker table?
I don't know, it's sort of like the opposite of that whole Epstein Island kind of
Yeah.
vibe. It was like, just these smart, nice people kind of going
Go
about
hang out
things.
right here in
Yeah.
Omaha.
Yeah.
What do they call him? The something of Omaha?
Oh,
The
the
Oracle?
Oracle of Omaha. Aaron
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah,
He did retire? Okay.
that's right. Yeah. Yep. Super. Dude, yesterday, he retired and
So,
handed it over to that other guy.
I mean, good for him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's done some things right, and he's humble. And I saw some article that was talking about Warren Buffett's son that said he had no idea his dad was a billionaire until he was like in his 20s,
Oh,
and
dude.
he and all of his friends were shocked
Yep.
to find that out, and they were like,
Wait
"What?
a second.
You know, I asked for a PlayStation that time. You could have bought me the company."
You got to earn it. Yeah, you're right, Dad.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? And he's still even got family members on the board. Like a little bit more digging I did after we found out about the first thing that triggered it was the recent moves. Aaron told me about him moving stuff to Japan. But then I looked into how he runs that company, and it's still mostly family members and close friends on the board, which nowadays, like people judge companies for that. Oh, it's all insiders.
Yeah.
They only want to do it a certain way. But actually, people look up to him and how he runs his company with family members and people that he trusts. And it's always been the same people for a long time. Everyone knows who it is. And it's no secret that they have like a specific way of running that company, you
It
know?
it makes all the sense in the world. Again,
Yeah.
continuity is
Yeah.
something that he recognizes the importance of. Ha Work hard enough to get a system that works and work the system.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I just need to take more notes from him. I probably need to slow down and just look at things the way Warren Buffett does.
I know. I mean, that's a good use of AI. I have a couple alerts set up in my
Mhm.
Gemini. And how about an alert that says, tell me whenever Warren Buffett makes a big move? Because I
Uh,
want to do the same thing.
well, now we're getting into the era of agentic AI.
Yeah.
So now I know the AI agent I want to make. I'm going to make an agent Buffett, and and say whatever Warren Buffett would do, according to history and what he's doing now, and Berkshire Hathaway
Yeah.
moves, uh, uh, alert me and take that action,
Hmm.
and I'll give it some rules on what actions it can take. So are you getting into the agentic AI kind
You
of
know,
thing?
I'm using gems on Gemini, but I haven't really gone deep into the agent side of things. Like gems are only a small version of that. It is a version of it, but not so much yet. And I don't fully know how it's going to work. I've got some friends smarter than me. You're one of them that's talking about how the future is going to be basically we have a bunch of different agents interacting with the world on our behalf,
Yeah.
and it's going to be a major shift, and I haven't fully grasped it yet. So
Yeah. I mean, I doubt everybody will do that. I mean, there are some people that, you know, won't get rid of their flip phone, and and they may be the smart ones because they're living their kind of life and they're happy, and
yeah.
they're not going to be on the roller coaster of all this tech, and it is a roller coaster. But the agentic thing is interesting, and those that are trying to have a career and certainly in knowledge work, in advertising or being a lawyer or anything where you might have had to go to college to kind of learn that level to operate. You're not really operating with your hands, uh, unless you're a surgeon. That's knowledge work too. But um, those ideas, those jobs are somewhat at risk because AI is bringing the value of knowledge work closer to zero in the same way that the Industrial Revolution took labor closer to zero. Now,
Mm,
since the Industrial Revolution, we've had a lot of companies and people have made a living and fed their families and housed them and everything with labor jobs. So it
yeah.
doesn't mean it all goes away.
We're just
And
not all doing it anymore.
right, but it's uh, uh, it's not the same as it was in the Guild Age,
Mhm.
where the craft guilds and the leather workers and the teamsters which doesn't mean truck drivers, but people that drove teams of horses and things like that. They had their skill set, and uh, only they could really put those skills together and do it. It reshaped. I I am predicting that's kind of what we're going to see. There is going to be disruption and a reshaping, but it's interesting to hear some of the predictions go much further and say, like, oh, within this decade, we'll have artificial general intelligence and it will take all the knowledge jobs. And then there will basically be plumbers and HVAC people and ministers and therapists and other people that do things that aren't related to computers and that robots really won't be able to do well, and not much else. The rest of us are going to be in a new post capitalist system with universal basic income and universal basic compute, and we'll do Sudoku all day or something. I don't know what we're going to do, but I'm not so convinced that that will happen, or that if we do end up that way, that we won't go through a world of hurt between now and getting to that. Uh,
Oh,
we could be heading for some pretty mass unemployment with AI, and so I like working with it and learning how to use it. And my suggestion to people is learn about the possibilities of agentic AI so that you are able to be one of the people who's running some of these bunches of AI. Essentially, you're the manager of a bunch of agents. Uh,
mm,
if you know something about the what success looks like in your field, if you know what a good ad looks like and how to get there and how to sh- push an AI in the right direction, that's some job security. If you know whatever other field, financial services, the law, uh, maybe they will have AI therapists. I don't know. As I do know a few people that like do things like they wake up in the morning and they tell their dreams to an AI, and it interprets
yeah.
their dreams for them. Uh, I find that fascinating, but also I'm not sure I want my dreams to be recorded on an AI in the cloud somewhere.
Right?
Uh, that might come back at me. I can't control what I
Yeah.
dream. It might be some messed up stuff. Uh,
Yeah. Man, that's super interesting.
It's the world is going to change from all this, and I'm seeing it in my company. The agency that I work with regularly is a London-based agency, and we've seen a good number of writers have been one of the first wave of people that they feel like they don't need quite as many. And they say it's not because of AI, but that's the positions they're losing. They're
Yeah.
not losing as many project managers. They're not losing as many other different things. So I think it's got something to do with AI. And so we're seeing that pattern play out. And we're seeing the Silicon Valley companies with massive layoffs. They say it's not because of AI. They say it's because they overhired 3 and 4 years ago.
There was some of that.
So there's some of that, but I think they're also trying to keep people from panicking and keep people from
Yeah.
hating them for offering AI. Uh,
Yeah.
I don't know. There are interesting things you can do with it. It's uh, you can you can take it and you can add to your own skill set. And I'm not a great designer, but I have led a lot of design, and I can lead AI to decent design. Part of it's just my skill set. I kind of let my Adobe Creative Suite skills lapse. But now I have a way of telling it, "Oh, yeah, make this happen in the image and make that
Yeah.
happen in the image," and then bring it into best practices and things like that. It's like I'm working with a designer. And I kind of hate to uh, overuse it. I want to keep people that are talented employed.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but there are some cases where I I wasn't going to be able to hire anybody because I didn't have any uh, startup capital to get something going. So once I get the ball rolling, then I can win over a piece of business, and then I can hire some people to get things going
Yeah.
and actually make things. But we're all going to be in the whole knowledge work area, we're going to be looking at that. Even doctors, there's this interesting thing in China. They've put together these booths, and they almost look like the booths you go in to get a photo of yourself, like the quick pick booth at
Yeah.
parties and
Yep.
things like that. Uh, but you go in and you sit down and you're talking to a camera and you're talking to an AI and you're telling it your health symptoms, and it gives you a blood test and will take your pulse and listen to your heart and things like that.
Wow.
Pretty basic kind of stuff. And then it can prescribe you medicine. Now, I don't think it's full on prescription medicine. I think it's kind of the over the counter. It can tell you what to take, and then it can advise if there's a particular doctor you go to. But that's cut out a process of what used to be the diagnostic process that you'd go to for a doctor. And we'd already seen that one evolve a little bit with uh, telemedicine. Uh,
Yeah.
the doctors themselves realized they didn't always have to be in the same room with you.
Yeah, you can do more at a distance. Is that thing taking blood?
I don't know if it is. I'd imagine it's like the fingerprint, finger prick kind of thing.
Yeah, okay.
Uh,
That's a good point. I
I
was like, "Whoa,
but
that thing."
I mean, there are AI surgical tools that can perform advanced surgeries where maybe a surgeon's running it from Boston, but the patient is in Ireland or something like that.
Dude,
And they're directing the robotic arms.
that's crazy.
And they're not that far from robots being able to run those things. And I mean, just the possibilities with AI running robotics and AI thinking about things. Do you know Google DeepMind? Have you ever heard of them? It's
No.
another Google selling point. So uh, the people that run it are in London. Demis, I've forgotten his last name. Brilliant guy. A couple of brilliant guys started it, and they're basically saying we want to see how far we can take AI to learn and to do things. And they started off kind of teaching it to play chess. It was after IBM's Deep Blue had beat Gary Kasparov at chess, but they
Oh,
were going to
yeah.
like, we're going to teach it to play some games. And then they taught it to play Go, which is a game played with marbles. It's got, what is the saying on it? It's like it's got more possible moves than there are sands on all the beaches in all the world. So a lot of possible moves,
Yep.
and it ended up beating the champion at that, and then playing other kind of video games, first person shooter games and different things like that. And it got to be either champion or close to. But then they got into this very interesting thing. Someone had taken proteins, the problem with protein folding, which is a great complex scientific problem they've been working on for a long time. They knew what proteins are, but every different protein has different ways of folding. And that's a key unlock for science. And so people have been trying to figure that out. And someone had a great idea of gamifying that. They made a video game that if you're the type of person that will sit down and play video games for hours, well, you could make it useful time by playing this protein folding game. And your unique solution
Oh, interesting.
might be the one that helps solve it. And, you know, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people around the world were playing this game, but they really hadn't unlocked it. Well, this team that's at Google DeepMind training their AI to play games said, "Oh, well, we'll get into that." And that game itself had some limitations. And they said, we're probably not going to get anywhere with this game, but it's got us on this path of protein folding. And they found out this competition existed between different labs. I think it was run out of John Hopkins and Johns Hopkins in Baltimore. And anyway, they got involved with this. And within like the first year, they were the winning group because they came the closest to figuring out some protein folding. In the second year, they had basically unlocked protein folding and found the path to it. And the two founders of OpenAI, these two guys who are computer scientists and former chess champions and things like that, won the Nobel Prize in chemistry for this.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, they weren't the only ones on their
Wow.
team, but they accepted it for their team. But
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the shape of what AI can do. I mean,
Right.
we won't just find a better way to treat cancer. We'll find ways to not get cancer. Uh, and then we'll find out what to do about the population explosion because people aren't dying of cancer uh, and
Oh, yeah.
things like
Our
that.
lifespans.
Uh,
Yeah.
but it's incredibly interesting, and I think that continued learning and the continued development of opportunities and the continued uh, uh, just enrichment of okay, now let's learn this will be the thing that keeps us from all just being like on universal basic income or being like the people in the pods at the beginning of the Matrix that
Yeah.
they're just fed a
Or the people in Wally.
yeah, yeah.
Remember Wally?
People bring up that one all the time, and I think it's very realistic. If we go to this kind of
We're already halfway
thing,
there anyway.
we don't have to do anything, and maybe we're living in a spaceship, we're all going to get fat drinking smoothies all day in hover chairs, uh, sitting around.
Yeah.
There's uh, they talk about the specific challenge that could come if we do reach that point. And I think there are indications of the same challenge already in society, but it's sort of a crisis of meaning.
That's for sure.
Like we find meaning in solving problems. We find meaning in having a self worth from what we do. Now, sometimes that meaning can go over to the negative side of kind of egotism and greed and cruelty. Better if we don't go there, but you can still find meaning in supporting each other in a common mission and things like that. Now, some people are like, yeah, we all can be like, our meaning can be in doing paintings. So, we're all going to grow up froze and be a whole world of Bob Rosses out there. Okay, that's nice. But
Jeez, I
uh,
don't know. I don't see it happening. I
right,
mean, when in human history have people not progressed?
right,
People have always, to our own detriment, a lot of the time, we want to work
i-
and like create something and have meaning
right.
because of our work.
Isn't
It's a
that,
very real thing since the
yeah,
since the human beginning.
yeah, isn't
You
that
know,
lack of striving sort of desultory to the scheme of life itself?
like what do we do with that? And it doesn't sound like there's going to be any work left to do. I mean, we're talking just about intellectual work and we're starting to talk about physical work, but I mean, robots in every home haven't even hit the market yet.
Oh
We're not even
yeah,
there yet, and
yeah,
we're already talking about huge layoffs. So,
yeah. We're seeing those signs. I was at CES this year, and if you wanted your booth looked at, you either had to have a humanoid robot giving a live demonstration, or you had to have a barista and free coffee.
oh
Those
yeah,
are the two big
both will do it
draws.
though.
Yeah, I
What's that
even
conference?
saw one booth, and these guys, I think they were had a time machine because their booth was from the 1960s or 70s. There was a woman in a bikini in a tub under a shower. And
Was it actually a robot?
I was like, maybe
A
it
robot
was.
wearing skin?
Oh, I walked by. I was taking pictures of everything else, and I would not point my camera at that. I was like, that's just creepy if I take a picture of that, even though it was
They're
kind of a.
really trying hard.
But I was like, yeah, these guys, it must have been a time machine from the 70s, you know. But
Yeah.
uh, they were stuck at that time. But yeah, the robots everywhere doing interesting things. Qualcomm, I was visiting their booth, and they had a humanoid robot doing kung fu and some of the moves from the Matrix, and
Jumping around.
yeah, things
Dude,
like
I've
that.
seen some videos on that. It's like, oh, I saw one just yesterday. I
And
think it was something from China. It's doing flips,
oh yeah,
flip
yeah.
kicks and
Uh, the,
backflips and all this stuff.
yeah, I saw like those robot dogs from Boston Dynamics were everywhere.
Oh,
They have them all over the place.
that's scary.
And it was fun. I was in Boston last summer and we went on a tour of MIT. And this MIT student is walking down the hall and she points to a glass wall. And there's Boston Dynamics, and over here is where we do our laundry. And I was like, wait, what? And I'm looking in. There is the glass wall, and you're looking in Boston Dynamics, and there are all these amazing robots you've seen on YouTube all over the place. But yeah, they were there, and their humanoid robot is doing amazing things. I just saw that uh, Tesla just made an announcement uh, this past week that they're going to stop production on their two top line cars, the Model S and the Model X, and they're going to reformat the Fremont, California assembly line to build more of the humanoid robots that they've
Oh
got.
no,
Yeah. And so
that is terrifying.
Elon's going to have a
Jeez.
flock of uh, humanoid robots out there.
Oh
And
God.
the other thing Tesla's getting into, another vehicle they're going to continue to make, is probably their robo taxi. I don't exactly know what it looks like, uh, but I've seen several different robo taxis, from the Waymo that you'd see all over the place. It's a Jaguar with a big radar looking thing on the roof. And they're all over the place in San Francisco and some other cities.
Mm.
And then at CES, I saw the the one from Amazon that's, it looks like just a box on wheels. It's like the back of a van. You cut off the back of a van, and then you stuck an identical back of a van on the front. So it's just kind of like windows on the front, windows on the back, and seats in the middle,
Interesting.
and no steering wheel, no front or back to it that you can really discern that much. Just it was driving around the highway around Las Vegas, around CES,
Yeah.
and I saw it in the uh, conference area as well. Uh, but these things are coming to life. And so uh, that's
Mm.
AI. Qualcomm's working on the chips that help run that. They're working on the the software for it. They're working on uh, oh virtual twins. Are you familiar with that term?
No.
So virtual twins are essentially, you create a real world environment in software, and then you make it so accurate that you can start doing testing on that environment. So
You talking
you,
about like VR of some kind?
yeah, kind of, it could be expressed in VR. You could view it on a screen or VR. It's sort of like the metaverse, but you're creating, say, like a stretch of highway in San Diego where Qualcomm is. They might create a virtual twin of that stretch of highway. And as one of the guys from Qualcomm was saying, like, it doesn't rain a lot here in Southern California. And so we don't always get a chance to
Does
go
not.
out and test our self-driving car in the rain right by where we are. And it doesn't snow much there, even more rare. But by creating this completely 3D virtual world, they're able to create sort of a Bayesian system that represents that world and show, okay, now if we simulate rain in here, how does the highway change? Does it become slippery in a different way? And they're training their self-driving car to do that. Or they might, like for here in Colorado, train it to go over the Continental Divide in the middle of
Deal with no.
January in the snow, in
Yeah.
different variations of snow. We know how some days it's icy, some days it's 10 feet of snow, and no problem to drive on it once they plow through it, and how it's different.
Yeah.
But all those different ones, they can put it in these virtual environments and test the dynamics of it, and then feed that into the self-driving technology, which runs AI right there at the edge, right there in the car, and can detect and make changes to what it, know what it needs to do, even if it's never been tested in a place where that was actually happening. So even though there are thousands and thousands of miles being put into these cars, they're not experiencing every possibility. And so they're
Yeah.
training them on more possibilities. So all of those things are going on. NVIDIA is one of the competitors in there, others like that, but they're coming up with really smart systems for uh, making split second decisions. I saw this one video. It shocked me because I knew the place that it happened. It was a Tesla that avoided hitting a pedestrian that had stepped out into the street and
Ooh,
instead had to make the split second decision to instead run into the side of a car coming the other direction on the road. And it
yeah.
happened in this city called Kronstadt or Brasov in Romania. Uh, and right by the high school my wife went to school at. And I was like,
Hey.
yeah, that's right by the Black Church and the Johannes School. But I know exactly that road. What are the odds of this happening in a video on a subject I'm really interested in? Uh, but
That's
those sorts of situations are happening, and now we're getting past that world where uh, the AI goes out of control and hallucinates something or just has the wrong, it doesn't have enough information to decide what to do. I saw a really funny, almost tragic one with Waymo the other day. Uh, Waymo, I think it was a Waymo car, self-driving in Los Angeles, and it drove into a police standoff. Like the police
oh,
were all behind their vehicles on one side of the road, and the guy that they're having the standoff with, I assume with a gun, is over here. And the car comes pulling through the indication. There's nothing blocking the car from going through, except there's a bunch of police cars with lights and guys there with their rifles drawn and
I know.
shotguns and everything.
So it just didn't know.
And some poor guy, probably in the back of the Waymo, is like, what is happening? And the car just sort of stopped. And I don't think anybody was hurt and the standoff ended, but it's the range of the unexpected things are going to be
Yeah.
of great interest as we depend on AI and robotics more and more.
Yeah. Well, I can't believe there's not excuse me. I can't believe there's not more self-driving cars on the road.
Well, it's kind
What's
of hard to tell which ones are. I mean, uh, most of the Teslas you see around you have self-driving capability. They're
they
equipped
do,
for it. Like,
but there's still people in them as
yeah,
far as you
yeah,
can see.
right. They've got level 2, almost level 3 autonomy where you can drive it in self-driving mode, but you're required to keep your hands on the wheel. And it
Yeah.
has some things that it checks to see if your hands are still on the wheel. And if
Yeah,
they're
see,
not,
I wanna lean it back and go to sleep.
yeah, level
No.
3, level 4 will get you into that area. And the technology's there, the hardware is there for that, but the software is not yet at that level and fully
Oh,
regulated and approved. Uh,
interesting.
some people are abusing it and doing that, but it is all uh, quite possible. And it's, all these different cars using the Snapdragon and Qualcomm chips or the NVIDIA chips. And it's really interesting. And there's a lot of gamesmanship in that. NVIDIA decided to make a bunch of their self-driving platform open source this year at CES. That made
Oh,
news and it sent panic everywhere. But anyway, these systems will keep getting better and better, and you will see more and more uh, self-driving cars. Uh, it's always going to start in the bigger cities first, and then it
yeah,
makes its way into the smaller cities. Uh, a lot of times that has to do with either the attitudes of the people there or the population density. That population density means there's more people trying to catch rides somewhere instead of like in Colorado Springs, where there's 99% of the time there's parking nearby wherever you're going. So you hop in your car and you go somewhere. But it's
in big
interesting.
cities, not like that.
What percentage of time do you think your car sits uh, unused?
Oh, probably 97% of the time.
That's a really good guess because the industry standard they say is 96%.
96?
Yep.
I believe it.
And
All night long, all day long while I'm here staring at my computer.
And when I'm talking to people about self-driving cars, and I often get, "Oh, not me. I'll never do that." A lot of times because they don't trust it, but then they'll also dish out the excuse of, "I love driving too much." Fair.
Yeah.
I like driving too.
Yep.
Uh, but then you hit them with, "All right, if you could take your car and drive it to work and enjoy the ride, and then instead of just parking your car and having it lose value for 96% of the time, send it out to give people rides and make money." What do you feel about that? And then people start to
Hmm,
perk up and they go, "Hmm."
interesting.
Now, some people are still like, "Oh, yeah, and have my car come back smelling like cigarettes and whatever else." Okay, fair point. Maybe that's an engineering problem with some special air filters or a spray gun that puts out any cigarette as soon as it's
Yeah,
lit.
sensors that don't let it run.
I'm
If you
sure
smell
there.
bad enough,
I know it's
you
that.
stink, sir.
I know
This car won't run.
it's the valet from Seinfeld. Uh,
This is beyond BO. This is
obvious.
BBO.
Yeah. uh, you just don't ever quite know what's going to happen. So there's some people are not going to go for that. But what if you just needed one car for your family? So I go to work
Hmm.
and the car goes back home so that my wife can go and do what she wants and go to work. And then while we're working and doing other things, the car goes and takes the cat to the vet. I don't have a cat, but
But
I'm allergic. But
yeah,
but anyway,
same here.
or uh, or grandma to her doctor's appointments, or all sorts of things, or the kids to and from school.
Anywhere,
And
anywhere. I can't believe it's not a thing already, to be honest. Like Google Maps technology is good enough to get me very precisely to a place.
yeah,
I can't believe that it won't already take a car from A to B
so
without wrecking it.
Tesla's opening up their self-driving cars to be used like that in Austin as a test market and some places like that. Um, I don't know exactly how successful that is, but it's gonna be successful eventually. And then Waymo is going to more places. Amazon's coming up with their shuttles that I mentioned. So that's going to be different. It'll be interesting. There will be new dynamics. Like you'll find cars on the market that look beautiful and they're pristine, but they've had 5 sets of tires on them. Uh, because they've been driven that many miles. They've got 200,000 miles, and someone's selling this 2-year-old car with 200,000 miles. It's going to be like,
Yeah.
okay, do I buy that? And then is it legal for me to use? And then there are all sorts of insurance questions. Uh, does the company that programmed the self-driving car have the liability in a wreck, or does the owner that didn't bother to change out the tires and they're all slick? Are they responsible for the wreck? Different questions like that are
They're
coming
going to
out.
swindle us just like they do now, is what's going to happen.
There are some people that say the projection is that insurance will end uh, the entire concept of driving yourself. You won't be able to get insurance anymore because the insurance companies will only
Oh, yeah. You're a
insure
flawed
the
human.
self-driving cars.
You can't drive a
Everything else
car. Are you
puts you by a
crazy?
liability.
The
So
computer's perfect. The AI is perfect. You can't drive a car. You're a human.
yeah, and you see
Too
other
risky.
things that are coming from electric vehicles, self-driving vehicles going down the highways. It's all electric and self-driving vehicles. Well, then the houses that nobody wanted because they're right by the highway and they're very low cost because there's noise and
They
pollution.
smell bad. There's noise.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Guess what?
that dynamic changed.
Yeah.
So maybe now's the
Not so bad
smart
anymore.
time to buy houses right by the highway while the cost is low and expect that in 30 years, the dynamic of that will have changed and that will be the most valuable because it's most convenient and close to things and
Right
easy.
on.
And you're not dealing with noise or pollution. Uh, Interesting things. And,
Yeah.
the oil industry, it doesn't want all these things to happen with the EVs and all that. And we'll see interesting things happen with all of that and power sources. We're straining the grid with data centers and electric cars, but we're also seeing a massive innovation in nuclear fusion.
Oh, man.
And
Yeah.
I forget the element tronium, something like that. It's similar to like plutonium and things like that, but it's a lot safer to use for fission. And there are advances going on with that. So we'll see advances in all these. We'll see exploration of putting data centers in space to keep them cool. We'll see solar panels in space that beam the power they gather in space via microwave to be gathered in a way. We'll see all these different explorations of uh, solutions to power, and at the same time, The oil industry is using new technology to discover new oil in new ways. We're finding more of that West Texas shale that's resupplied the oil industry for many, many years. And then that
Yeah.
was discovered further in West Texas and New Mexico a few weeks ago. Uh,
Oh, I didn't know about that.
we're finding, yeah, it's kind of recent news, but all these things, there are new solutions. People are worried about environmental issues. AI is going to figure out a lot of the environmental issues. It's sort of a race to see whether it will cause more environmental issues with the data centers before it solves the environmental issues. Uh,
That's
uh,
wild. That's one of the conversations I had with Gemini. Is I said, all right, we're gonna need a massive amount of infrastructure changes with the AI boom, right? So I asked it, what are all the components that are going to be required and who is supplying them? Who's on the forefront of the research?
yeah,
Uranium and copper and all this stuff. And it gave me this list of like, I think it was 6 different elements needed for the power grid. And all these companies under each of the 6 buckets, here's the top 3 companies that are making moves
yeah.
to like provide this change that's coming. And it's like, here's all the companies you should invest in for the future because they're the ones that are going to be making a difference.
Right. Yeah, right now it's actually giving a resurgence to oil companies and maybe even the coal industry and things like that, and things that provide work with natural resources and companies that harness uh, energy from steam or uh, solar or hydroelectric and
Yeah.
things like that. Those are uh, at a really nice steady growth. And people thought like ExxonMobil, electric cars will come and they'll go away. No, there were plenty of other things. There are plenty of other needs that are growing. And if
Also,
we
yeah,
can,
how do you think they're going to power all that mining and like new technology?
yeah,
It's not from the sun.
yeah, absolutely. There are lots of needs for lots of things. And
Yeah.
at the same time, some of these electric vehicle companies are not surviving. Uh,
Mm.
Nikola, that's Tesla's first name, was a trucking company. I think it still may be, but it's in bankruptcy right now.
Oh, I didn't even heard of that.
Yeah,
I bet you
and
there's a lot.
so
They're
I
trying.
I actually thought they were going to be uh, in a really good position. They were instead of battery electric, they were kind of focused on hydrogen fuel cell, and I thought that makes a lot of sense for long haul trucking, and I still stand by that projection. But the company is in trouble. They're not getting enough buy-in, or they're dealing with engineering problems to if you've got that hydrogen, you have to keep it really cold. So it's an energy problem in its own right. But hydrogen's very portable. You can fill up just enough on a truck. It doesn't weigh much of anything. It doesn't take much space, and you can run that truck for 500 miles easily, maybe 1,000. At the same time, they're also coming up with uh, uh, updated batteries for cars that are projected to go 1,000 miles on a charge and charge in 5 minutes. Well, that
Weesh.
makes it actually better than the equation we've got right now with gasoline. Uh,
Boy, what kind of shenanigans do you think are going on when people are making those kind of moves and inventions and the oil companies are hearing about it?
yeah,
That guy
absolutely.
over in so and so country did what? Send a guy over there. We're
Right.
ending that,
And all these things will
and we
change.
never hear about it.
They'll change
Crazy.
the politics, they'll change things that are going on, they'll change which countries have the right geography for different advantages, whether they've got uh, the geological assets that are needed, like lithium or titanium or something like that, uh, or maybe they're just in the right place for a new kind of shipping channels that emerge from hover ships or whatever someone invents in the next
Yeah,
10
yeah.
years. Who knows? And we may get that hover aircraft carrier from the Avengers. And everybody's like, yeah, why not? Uh,
Dude, that is wild. Have you heard of this new documentary that came out, The Age of Disclosure?
I don't remember. Tell me about that one.
It's about aliens.
Okay.
So people that have worked in the highest levels of government and interacted with those people and seen certain things, they claim there's a lot of people claiming things, as you can imagine, but it's making a lot of waves right now. Anyway, there's probably 4 or 5 people in it that claim that they saw spacecraft hovering above our nuclear sites. 4
Oh,
different people talk about this,
yeah, I'm
and we're
familiar with
talking,
those reports.
you know that one?
Yeah.
We're talking like big, flat, matte black shapes the size of like a Walmart, like
Okay.
the size of like a football field, just hovering above our nuclear sites, indicating that you know, other life forms are here watching our progress in nuclear.
It could be that, but I wouldn't be at all surprised to find out it's uh, we're the life forms doing it. Uh,
Yeah.
that it's just secret stuff, and I don't know why it would be in such a clearly visible place as nuclear, but probably something like that. Uh, I assume when the aliens come, it's going to be guns ablazing, and that's going to be very much the only thing we know. It's sort of like living here in Colorado Springs. We got Cheyenne Mountain right next to us.
Yeah.
We'll never know there was a nuclear attack.
We'll just
We'll be vapor.
incinerate
Yeah.
immediately.
Yeah. Uh,
That's interesting. So you don't think they're here at all?
uh, no, not. I'm.
Whoa, interesting.
I kind of doubt. I don't think we're good enough at keeping secrets. So if we know they're here, I don't think they're here. If we
Yeah.
don't know they're here, well, then all bets are off. Maybe there's some
Yeah.
cleverness going on.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. We all have this picture of alien life, like it's those little green men.
Uh,
And it may or may not even be life forms that look like us.
have you
You know?
seen the new Vince Gilligan series Pluribus?
No.
It's on Apple TV.
Ooh,
They do a very interesting take on how the aliens arrive and take over.
oh, okay.
Uh, I won't say too much more because I don't want to,
I gotta look it up.
spoil it for.
I've heard good things.
But it's a well told story. I think they had 100% rating on Rotten Tomatoes for the first episode.
Oh wow.
It's just fascinating. Good acting, and Vince Gilligan is the same guy that did Better Call Saul, Breaking Bad, X Files.
Yep.
Dude knows how to tell a story.
Couple of the
Uh,
best shows ever made.
yeah, absolutely. So, uh, yeah, watch for that because
That's interesting.
is this creative take. I understand actually it was somewhat based on a Twilight Zone episode. I haven't tracked it that down to find out if that's true. So
Yeah.
if that's, you know, false narrative from social media, I want to caution people not to believe
Yeah. Double check
everything
it.
that I pass along. Uh, but uh, but yeah, very interesting things. I could see something more like that happening. Uh, just remember donuts. Watch out
Donuts.
for free donuts.
Oh, this is gonna get interesting. I gotta watch this.
Yes.
What is there, like one season out or what?
Yeah, they've done one season and it's on
Oh,
Apple TV. Uh,
it's gonna be
I
interesting.
started watching it basically as soon as like Slow Horses ended for the season, and I was like, "Oh,
Oh yeah. You were telling me about Slow Horses, which I still need to watch.
I love a good uh, spy drama, and that one's great."
Yeah, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. Well, cool. How we doing on time, Aaron? We probably need to wrap this thing up. Hour 15? Sweet. I think that's as good a place as any. You're doing a bunch of interesting work
I'm
in the
having
marketing
fun.
space. I think I'm in marketing as well, as everyone knows listening to this, or maybe not, I don't know. But
Oh, let me tell you briefly. I'll make this short, but there was a fourth book, and it's on marketing.
oh, really?
Yeah,
AI in marketing in minutes.
it's the opposite of that. It's
Okay.
the things that will never change in marketing in a world where everything is changing.
Oh,
So it's
okay.
about the eternal truths, and we know them from some other things that we do in life, particularly dating,
Okay.
like in marketing. No matter what social media has invented or AI tool or whatever, when you're talking to other people, there's a right time to ask for the sale in the message, and there's a wrong time. And we know how to judge that time already from dating, because we know there's a right time and a wrong time to ask for that first kiss on a date.
Yep.
And
Yep.
then there are other things. There are times in the relationship where you're just trying to meet the person. You've spotted someone that looks attractive and you want to meet them. How much is coming on too strong? What's too brazen? What's too loud? What are the ways to communicate with people when you're in the relationship? What's the right way to uh, live with someone and uh, have a lasting relationship that people both feel good about? What's the right time to introduce the parents? That could be
It's the
related to
nuance. It's the nuance of it.
and and so what I'm doing in this book is I'm taking these things that we know. There are all these kind of unwritten rules that we learn along through life and we're trained on,
Yep.
but relating them to how they play into if you're doing marketing for your business or being a marketer for someone else, how that's going to relate. So I'm kind of going all these books about the AI and the future and things like that. And then I'm
What it can
doing
do.
something that's sort of here's the opposite. This is timeless. And
Yeah.
I've got enough to put out probably two books, but I'm going to come out with one on that at first. And
Yeah.
uh, that's
We're gonna need that. And I have noticed that's a that's just a glaring dynamic in the marketing space that we've noticed is like there's a lot of you can just crank out drivel
oh,
with AI, and that could be in the form of words or images or video or whatever. So
yeah.
it doesn't mean that all of a sudden you're a good designer if you can just put in a prompt and say, "Give me a picture of this mountain," you
Yeah,
know,
people with
or a logo about this,
people with
you
an
know.
idea of what success looks like and how to achieve it can get more out of AI
Yeah,
or work without AI, and
yeah,
that's not gonna change. That'll remain the case.
yeah,
But, yeah, anyway, that's that other direction I was going, and, uh,
yeah. Are
you
you gonna
know,
do an audiobook version?
I should do audiobook on all of these. I'm actually terrible at reading aloud. I can do, like,
Really?
short voiceovers for commercials. I love doing
Yep,
that.
I've seen you do that.
But if I have to read for an hour straight, I'm gonna get about 15 minutes worth of good content because I'm dyslexic. I am kind of lost in reading. I'd be like a
Yeah.
terrible audiobook reader. So I'll have to hire someone or do one of these systems where I get an AI to read
I
it and
think you
sound
can
like a
just make an
person.
AI that's like, "Here's 10 seconds of my voice," and it'll read it for you.
I might. I'm probably
Read the whole book
yeah.
and rate it. It takes 1 second.
I'm toying between going with publishing and doing my own publishing and
Oh,
really
yeah.
getting a full I've got a publishing company, but I haven't really turned it into anything. So if I go with a publisher, I'll have them, you know, get the professional audiobook readers and all
Yeah.
that. I love a good audiobook reader.
Oh, yeah, the right voice is great. Did you
Yeah.
have a publisher for the first book? For
No, no,
Future
I did
Cars?
that one myself. I started the company and did that, and then put it out through two ISDNs with the Library of Congress, one with Amazon and that was separate, so I could put it in
Mm,
bookstores.
mm, okay. I'm thinking about how to do my book like that.
I can send some of the info your way. It's actually quite easy. Now, tell me about your book.
Oh, well, I started working on it when I was in Italy, and actually that was a really interesting AI experience that I had was I just been writing notes about this concept. Excuse me. Um, I've had this idea for a book about um relationship building and success in life, specifically business success in life and relationships. And basically how you can experience happiness and fulfillment in life through relationships and be successful with it at the same time. It kind of comes from this idea. It kind of dawned on me a few years back that really everything that I've ever done that I've enjoyed or has been notable has been because of relationships that I have around me. Not my brilliant idea that I had one day and I worked really hard and I made it happen myself. Not that, but actually because I had good people around me. So, this is the gist of the book. And I've been writing notes on it for a couple of years now. I've had this idea, but I've never really organized it into anything. And then when I spent that time in Italy, I I went on Gemini and I was like, all right, I got pages of notes here. Here they are. Organize this into cohesive thoughts and tell me, like, if I want to write a book, what would the chapters be about? How could I organize this? Right. And it was very interesting. It gave me, like, here's 25 chapters, titles that you could write about. Right. I do not want to have AI write the book for me,
Right.
but I do want to have it help me, like you said earlier, with the brainstorming process and the research process and just the here's what it could be type
That
of thing.
that's
Right.
exactly the process I'm following with it,
Yeah.
and it really it broke down some barriers I had about it. So I'm so
Yeah.
glad to hear you're writing that. And I bet a lot of people with interesting things to say are going to be joining us and kind of like they finally have connected the dots to get their thoughts together, organize them, and share something. The world's going to be richer for that.
Yeah. I think it's a good thing as well. I really don't want people to abuse it. I don't want that to be right. Okay, now write me all 25 chapters and copy and paste. I
Well,
think that might happen a lot, but I hope that people use it more thoughtfully than that.
yeah, I think we'll be able to tell somewhat that AI slop is what they're
Right.
calling that, and they're
Right.
kinda like the ads you're talking about. You can recognize that coming,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I really like your subject because it's very you. I mean,
Yeah.
y you're you're a kinda guy that people enjoy talking to, they enjoy hanging out with. It it you not only, uh draw great people to you, but part of being friends with you helps people be a little greater as well.
Well, thank
So,
you. That means a lot. I appreciate that.
yeah, it's true. I mean,
I appreciate that.
anybody out there, hang out with Adam, you'll be great.
I appreciate that. I mean, that's the reason for this podcast. It's called People of Colorado Springs because I really enjoy hanging out with people and hearing what they're all about and empowering them to go be great and do what they're passionate about,
It's,
you know?
yeah, well, having people like you around that offer that kind of encouragement and support, it it's a symbiotic thing. The 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 town of Colorado Springs is stronger for people that are having that kind of relationship and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, Yimmy had his ideas, and he had great ideas of what he would do and could bring, and been a very positive force. And he kind of came out of like a place no one really gave him much chance to become the mayor. And
Yeah.
but he started talking to people much in the way you're describing. And you were one of those people. And that helped him to be at his
Yeah.
best and shine. So
Yep.
there's the model.
Yep. He was one of the first people that taught me about this, you know. When I met him in 2000 like 14, he was someone totally different, and you're right, when he wanted to get elected, he hit the pavement. He went door to door himself, and he said, "I wanna talk to real people one-on-one, find out what they care about, find out how I can help, and then go do it." Right? Um, so, yeah, that there's a couple of people in my life that have done that. He's one of them, and then Davin as
Oh,
well.
yeah. Davin, he's got
Davin,
the gift
yep.
of gab.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Yeah, well, he's super immature in the best way. Yeah. Both of those guys have taught me untold amounts about relationship building and just bringing good people around you and trying to make the best of it together, you know?
I kind of think of Davin, I would describe him as the opposite of pretentious.
Right?
I mean, he wants to make a funny band with his friends for his company. He wants to run a
Yeah.
company in a way that people have a good uh, kind of rapport with each other and things like that.
Yeah.
And then he wants to go on and do things in life that are interesting and hang out with his friends and,
Yeah.
ride the motorcycle or
He's actually just a
with
surfer
groups.
from Hawaii, you know? And he just wants to have a fun time and make fart jokes,
Yeah.
and then also has a hugely successful company
Well,
that he built and sold over however many years. Yeah.
there is a dynamic there to knowing how to ride a wave that prepares you for a period of disruption and making your way through it, kind of surfing your
Man,
way through it. So maybe Davin
that's true.
can describe the dynamics between those two.
Yeah. I almost forgot to ask the two most important questions.
Oh,
Aaron, you almost let me just end this show without asking. Oh, he's gonna chime in.
oh, Aaron.
There actually are. This whole show is just like, let's talk about whatever, and it'll be interesting. Hopefully, it is. And this has been very interesting. So, thank you. But we have two questions that we ask every guest on this show, which is, what's something you love about Colorado Springs, and then something you think we need to do better.
Um, well, this dynamic is a picture of one of the things I love about Colorado Springs. So I came here from Dallas, and a lot of people I love in Dallas and all that. And I probably came here for the geography more than anything else because I didn't know Colorado Springs. So I came for the mountains and the snow and the skiing and the mountain biking, and the hiking. And I do
Yeah,
enjoy all that uh, and the shape that it gives to things. But what's really tied me to it is I think the city's at a scale that it brings people together. And uh, I like that it brings different people together. I have made friends that uh, I might not have met them or crossed paths with them. I might not agree with them on politics and things like that, but it puts us in places where we can see and hear each other and recognize something deeper than our, you know, woefully short-sighted views on theories of economics or how the world works and
yeah,
what the
finite
main
stuff,
yeah,
finite stuff.
and having those people keeps you kind of humble. I remember also it's just at a scale where you get thrown with people. Uh, we were walking around one night downtown with some people not long after we'd moved here, and this guy I'd crossed paths with in another meeting recognized me and remembered my name. I didn't remember his. I felt bad, but he was like, "Hey, Glenn, how are you doing? Good to see you." And as he's walking off, the couple we're walking with are like, "How do you already know the mayor?" and I didn't even know, it was, but
That's
that's
funny.
the city is approachable and together. You run across people that step up and make a difference, and you can see that and feel it in the way they do things. Richard Scorman, I used to keep an office up above poor Richard's,
Yeah.
and the accessibility, the conversations. If you're willing to raise your hand and join the conversation and help, people will let you, and it gives you access to make change in positive ways,
Mhm.
uh, and and help shape and better the place you're in. I know you're hugely into that. Uh, I remember first time I met you, or we met on social media probably, but and I saw something about the Wolf Den. I was like, that is really cool. I think I was when I had my office in Dallas and I saw what was going on here in Colorado Springs, and I was like, good on them for, getting something
Yeah.
going with this Wolf and Key place. They look like they're having a blast.
Yeah.
And your social media presence was a lot about the company dynamic. But I remember the first time we started emailing, your signature line had like five different boards you were a part of.
Oh, yeah. It's
And I'm
so
like,
cool like that.
and when I
It's kind of extra.
and when I came back to Colorado Springs, I used that a little bit of a model. When I first came here, I worked for a company that all of its clients were elsewhere. And so I didn't really get to know the other people in business and just in the community that well, aside from people I met through parents of my kids, friends, and things like that. But um, uh, anyway, geez, I've kind of gotten myself off on a tangent. I've walked out
No,
onto
I
a
like that.
ledge, and I'm not sure how to leap over to the other side now.
No, I love that.
Uh, but there is
There's a
something.
lot of ways to get involved.
Oh, but yeah, when I saw
Yeah.
that signature line, it was something that influenced me and got me. to raise my hand and take part in places things like the Give campaign or the All Souls Church or the Democratic Party, helping them out with some things. By the way, again, I helped out the Democratic Party, but I got a lot of friends that wouldn't help out the Democratic Party, and no no
Guess what?
shortage of love.
Still friends.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow, figure that out, guy.
Yeah. Uh, you know, uh, you know, I recognize a lot of common ground and common desire for outcomes and maybe just different ideas on the approach to it.
Isn't that
But
what it is?
uh,
Yep.
but that's one of the things I liked about Yemi so much. He's been a person that could say, "Yeah, I'm going to look past that label on people. I'm just going to find the common ground and bring people together." And Colorado Springs, maybe it's the scale, maybe it's something with the history or the layout of it, or maybe it's just that I know
I'm
you.
in the water.
But but it's been a place where I've gotten to be part of conversations and offer to help and have help accepted or ask for help and or not even have to ask for help. Help's always offered.
Yeah.
Uh, but I like that dynamic, and I like the mix of people, and the fact that it's not just an echo chamber here.
Yeah.
Um,
Man,
so
you're right. People are so open to conversation and collaboration and they're just welcoming. I don't know of very many clicks,
and
you
really,
know?
if I was going to name something that I would change about Colorado Springs, it is the people that don't realize this about Colorado Springs, the people that stay to themselves and keep their tribe and no one else, and don't
Yeah.
realize there's great things to be found in the people around you, whether it's the secret hidden talent of someone or that you have common cause. I remember a funny joke. Uh, Instead of an unfunny joke, I guess. But
Instead of a
and
dad joke.
yeah, I think it was Emo Phillips. He was a really interesting comedian. The joke was something like, I was walking down the street and I saw this guy standing up on a ledge about to jump on it from a building up above. I'm like, oh no, I gotta go. I got to go do something. So he runs up the staircase, many, many floors, and he gets there right before the guy's about to jump. And he's like, wait, don't do it. What's, you don't need to do this. And the guy's like, I, I I need to. I'm all alone in this world. And he's like, no, no, you've got me. I'm here. And he's like, I don't know you. He's like, well, I bet we have things in common. And the guy's like, uh, you're are you religious? And the guy's like, yeah. He's like, I'm religious too. I go to church. And then he's like, uh, what church do you go to? And he's like, uh, Methodist. And he's like, hey, I'm Methodist too. There you go. Which
Just
Methodist
go.
are you? Are you the second Reformation or the first Reformation? And the guy's like, first Reformation. And he's like, die, heathen scum. Pushes him. uh, People get a little bit
Oh, God.
lost in their little insular inside thing, and I do see it in the Springs. I I want to stop the guy in the Trump truck one of these days and have coffee with him, and you know, uh, let alone just the amount of gas he's burnt and caused pollution to the
Yeah, yeah.
environment and all that. But
Which I'm sure he'll totally listen to you on.
I know. He'd be like, up yours,
Yeah.
drink coffee, Pabst Blue Ribbon,
Yeah.
but, okay, that's me being mean to the guy. But I have something in common with him. I know that already. The guy cares. He shows up.
Yeah.
I don't care and show up in the same way, and probably not with the same level of commitment. Uh, but
Yeah.
I respect people that do that. Now, in my mind, he might go a little beyond. It certainly probably be an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
But but the one thing I would change with the Springs is the people that aren't engaging. The ones that drive into their garage, close the garage door behind them, go into the house, do what they need in the house, and then next day on the way out to work, they drive from their garage to another garage, go into a building, and They're
Yep.
in the grocery store, probably with some earbuds in, listening to a podcast, which I've done.
We've
But
all done it. I
uh,
do that too.
but hopefully it's this podcast,
Yeah.
at
It's
least.
definitely this one. They're
But
listening to the whole thing.
I that's the thing I would change. I would invite people to dare to talk to some of the people they wouldn't think to talk to
Yeah.
be thrown together, to aim for that and have shared experiences, because they will find what I've found in Colorado Springs of it's it's a good scale of a mix of people. You get a range and you find some common cause, and uh, is you just feel pretty together, and you feel like you got some worthy community.
It makes a big difference. It makes a big difference, and we're in a especially suburban city more than most. We've talked about it before on this show,
All right.
is we don't have the same really super dense downtown city center that a lot of cities have. We have a lot of suburbs here. So it is really easy to go and sit in your driveway or go pull in your driveway into the garage and shut the door. Most of us live in a neighborhood like that. But we would all be much better off if we kind of get out of our comfort zone a little bit, go further than your driveway, and just interact with a neighbor,
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
It would make us all so much happier. So I've always been an advocate of that. And speaking of Mayor Yemi, he advocated for those, or they made those neighborhood gatherings happen. Do you remember those?
Yes.
Yeah. Get out and talk to your neighbor. Pretty simple,
Yeah.
you know?
And, I'm sure that some people did meet each other.
Yeah, I'm sure. Of
And we're
course.
like, "Yeah, now I know the creepy guy that walks down our street is not so creepy. He's
Yeah.
actually okay."
Yeah,
Had some
100%.
fun stories, or they identify with them. Yeah,
Yeah,
I like to see when that happens.
yeah,
Like discovering the folks around, and, uh, you're one of those people, your podcast, your book, your way of living, your way of taking part in things, you're very much bringing people together, and it's one of the reasons I like hanging out with you.
yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And likewise, there's a reason you've been working at this office for a long time, Glenn. You fit in great around here.
Well, I enjoy it.
So I've learned a ton from you in the marketing space and advertising space, and
Likewise.
you've got experience I don't have, and I appreciate that. So uh, thanks for being on.
Well, I'm always glad to be around here with you and Jocelyn and the gang.
Yeah,
I'm very happy to be on with you,
yeah,
and
it's a good time.
I hope Aaron remembered to hit record,
Yeah,
and, uh, because this is
you
like
get
the
you
best
get
I've
this
ever
one. Yeah.
had.
Oh, he's got it. He's got it. Let people know where they can find you or find your book or anything public you want people to be able to find
Uh,
about you.
yeah, absolutely. I would encourage people, come, connect with me on LinkedIn.
Oh, okay.
That's the best place. Glen Day, one N in Glen. You'll see me. I probably got my first book up in the header. You'll see me there. I'm the one with white spiky hair.
Yeah. And the cool glasses.
Yeah, I'm not sure I have those in my
Oh,
on
okay.
my profile picture, but I should probably update it to
Yeah.
the cool glasses.
Yeah. Just have AI put it in there for you. It'll take 1 second.
Yeah, if you're thinking of what I look like, I probably look like you'd expect a writer to look like. I chose those glasses.
Yeah. Those are writer glasses for sure. It makes total sense. All right. Cool. Well, thanks again for being on. Appreciate all the time. It was fun. We'll probably have you on again because you're one desk away from me.
I can't wait.
So good stuff. All right. Cheers.
Cheers.